Hey, it's Mila. Welcome back to my channel.
I go around and I go around and I go around, I go around. I'm always out, I am always out, I am always out, I'm always out. I keep running so I don't have to go.
You guys probably would have seen my every single book that I read in 2024 video that came out, I want to say 2 days before this one. But today we're just gonna go over the best and the worst books of 2024. I decided I was gonna do 4 worst books, 4 best books. Worst books, not in the sense that they were bad books so that I despise them. Worst as in looking back, these are the books that were the least memorable, or when I thought of my time reading them, it was not an enjoyable experience. Whether it's because it was actually bad, it was boring, I just did not like it made me uncomfortable, whatever. That is my kind of not my ranking system, but what I go for when I'm worst books. And then obviously the best books, books that had the best experience, books that stay with me for a while, books that I can't get out of my head. I also wanted to add a few honorable mentions because it was so hard to pick just 4, because I was I can think of 4 worst books, so there have to be 4 best books, but there was more than 4, right? So we do have some honorable mentions I will be mentioning at the end. But before we hop into anything, if you're new here, my name's Mila. I make everything from college, lifestyle, and bookish type content. So if that sounds fun, definitely hit the subscribe button down below to join our little family. I also wanted to add that all my socials are in the description bar down below if you want to go check me out in other places. And that's pretty much it that I want to say for now. So let's just hop into the best and worst books of 2024. So I think I'm going to do best, worst, best, worst, best, worst. So it kind of spices things up. It's not too negative, but it's also not, oh my god, everything's perfect, whatever. You know, we're gonna be alternating. So the first book I think of when I think best book of the year, it has to be The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I read this in basically one sitting. I've never read a book in one sitting besides this book. The second book, it was still good, but it wasn't nothing topped the first. I literally sat down, started reading, only stood up to eat, to go to the bathroom, to grab water. I just sat down and flew through it, and oh my god, wow, I definitely got the hype. If you have not read it, please go read it. It's, how do I even describe it? It's I'm pretty sure most people have read it by this point, but if you haven't read it, it's about a girl who hasn't really grown up in the best conditions, and out of nowhere it turns out that she's inheriting all the money from this rich grandfather, right? So his children barely get anything, the help barely gets anything, the grandsons barely get anything, but she gets everything. So our whole thing is what is her connection? If you like puzzles, if you like just any type of game when you have to connect clues, figure things out, it is so good. 100% recommend. I don't think all these books that I have on the best side are 5 stars, but this was definitely 5-star. I think this was my first 5-star read of 2024, and oh my god, it was absolute perfection. Now for worst book of the year, I know some people put this as a 5-star read for them. I don't understand why. I felt uncomfortable all throughout it. Even though at first I was okay, I like the love interest, throughout the book I was this just feels icky, this feels weird, I just no. And that book is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. So I'm almost done the Devil's Night series. Love it. Love her writing style. She just sucks you in. Feels like you're watching a movie. Birthday Girl, however, oh god, no. I'm sorry. The father of your ex-boyfriend. No. And throughout the entire book, I was okay, in what world will this be comfortable for all 3 of them? Because 1, it's his dad dating his ex-girlfriend. 2, it's his son's ex-girlfriend. 3, it's her ex-boyfriend's dad. No, it just, no. And I remember, I think I was reading this book for a video. I was okay, best case scenario, the son dies, so he's not a problem anymore. But it's no, because that's absolutely traumatic. No. Honestly, I don't see what people see in this. I think, I'm pretty sure I remember I said in the video that I read this in, I would have DNF'd if it wasn't for a video. Did not like it. Rated this very, very low. I think I rated this a 2-star, because I was no, I just, no. I felt just, I had to finish this book by audio because I could not read it physically. That's how much I hated this book. If this is one of your favorite books, please let me know down below why. I'm very curious. because I do not think that I had the experience that most people had when they read this. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave this. I never want to think of this book ever again. Moving on to better things, this book, oh my god. I live in the city of the Canadian Grand Prix. I had this like situation happen in my life. Someone who I met was very similar to Liam. I just like saw that person in Liam, so it was kind of like a nostalgic feeling. It was like F1 weekend. It was just like all the vibes were there to make this the perfect book. And I remember I listened to a playlist for this song. There was this one song, I loved it so much. It was on my Spotify Wrapped. This book, oh my god, just like I love it. I love it. This was also a 5-star read. Collided by, can we see? Collided by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Dirty Air series. The first book, I wasn't a huge fan of. Like, I remember when I first discovered it, I thought I would be so much more into the first book than the second book. Like, to the point where I was like, I don't think I'll like the second book. The first book wasn't bad. Like, it was good, but there was nothing like, I don't know, I feel like I hyped it up for myself too much. And I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought that I would. So I was very nervous going into the second book, but I feel like since my expectations were so low, I was so surprised. Loved it. Love Liam. Love Sophie. Honestly, one of my favorite romances in 2024. If you have not read the Dirty Air series, I'm pretty sure most people have read Lauren Asher, but I found out about the Dirty Air series before Lauren Asher like blew up basically. It just took so long for me to like actually read it because no one was talking about it. So I was like, yes, the premise seems cool, but no one's talking about it. So I don't know like what the vibes are if people actually like it. If you have not read this series, please go read it. Lauren Asher, her writing style is amazing. Her characters are amazing. The banter is amazing. And Liam and Sophie and Collided are amazing. Our second worst book of 2024 is going to be Heartless by Marissa Myers. This book, I feel like I hyped it up in my head. I remember like people were reading it. So I was like, oh, like I'll buy it, I'll read it also. It wasn't bad. I was surprised by it, but I feel like I was just bored. Like it wasn't a bad book, I was just bored. I had to audio it because nothing in me like made me want to continue it. And I forget if I was using this book for a video or not. Barely read anything physically. Like at first I thought, okay, it's like a standalone fantasy. There's gonna be some build up, like it takes some time. But it never really picked up, and by page 100, I was like, I don't want to do this. It's not bad, but I have no interest in like these characters. I have no connections. I just know. I think I rated this maybe 2.5, 3 because I didn't dislike it, but again, I had like no interest in like continuing the story. Now we're going to another 5-star read. This book took me by surprise. I heard about it, but I didn't hear really what it was about. How did I buy this book? I forget why I bought this book. I think I bought it for a video, then I never ended up filming that video. And then over the summer, I was like, you know what, let's just pick it up. Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. This book, I have never seen myself in a character as much as I have in this book. Like, it basically gave me the same vibes as like normal people, but there's more of a plot, there's more of a progression like over time. It's not like a doom story, like you know there's gonna be a happy ending. And again, I never connected to a character as much as I did here. I've never like seen myself in a character, her thoughts, her actions, just like how she was. The connection I have with this book is crazy. I remember I told my friends to read it. I was like, I'm not gonna tell you anything because I went in knowing nothing. When you finish it, you're gonna see why it's one of my favorite books, why I felt so much. And then all my friends were like, yes, like I totally see it. I totally see where you're coming from. I cried 11 times. I cried 11 times reading this book. I have a reading journal and I have a cry count. Most books are like 2. This was 11. Please read it. Please go read it. Honestly, one of the best, my book fell. Honestly, one of the best things I ever read. This worst book, it's the same thing as Heartless. I was just bored. There was nothing really connecting me to the characters. I just had no interest in continuing the story. And that's The Sweetest Oblivion by Danielle Laurie. A little bit of like backstory behind this book. I was like super intrigued by the second book, The Maddest Obsession, which is like, I think an ex-mafia person and like an FBI agent. That book I really wanted to read, but I was like, oh, okay, it's part of a series. I have heard a bit about the first book. Nothing was drawing me towards it, but like, you know what? Let's just read it because it's part of like a connected series. It's one book. I don't have to read many before getting to that. Like, it's fine, whatever. So I never really had that desire to read this book. It was more of like an obligation to read the rest. It had the premise to be so good. I was just bored. Like, I feel like it was definitely way too long. I think it's 380 pages. Easily could have been like a Core Riley book. under 300 pages, it would have worked, it would have been better. I don't know what it is, because I like Mafia, I love it, but this one is just, it did not hit. I feel like the only like best books of 2024 so far were romances. Now we're gonna go into fantasy. I have the old cover of this book. That's how long I've had it on my shelf, and it took me so long to read. I found out about this book before it blew up. I'm mad it took me so long, but oh my god, I read this so fast. Literally in the summer. I don't read fantasy in the summer. I sat down and I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. I ate it up, and once again, I listened to like a little playlist about this book, and there was this one song on my Spotify Wraps because it was so good. I was so obsessed. This book is the Atlas Six. I don't know how much to reveal because I went in basically knowing nothing. Just fantasy, magic, secret society, and I was so pleasantly surprised. So many twists and turns. One thing I love, you see everyone's point of view, and yes, at first it does get confusing when you're trying to see, okay, who is who, but wow, literally, wow. Wow, I don't want to say anything because I want you guys to go in knowing nothing like I did. If you have not read it, please, I recommend. All 3 books in the trilogy are out. You literally have no excuse. This brings us to the last book in our like worst and best classification, just in our like video concept. This worst book, I was bored. Like a lot of these, yeah, I was just bored. Had no interest in it. It was like too long. And we have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I read the Remnant Chronicle series and it did drag on. Oh my god. Like, yes, it was 3 books, but they were short. It felt shorter. I don't know what it is, because I did enjoy those, even though I was like, it is kind of slow paced. It was interesting, but it was slow paced. So I knew, like, I knew what to expect going into this, but I also feel like things did happen. It just feels like nothing happened, because it was so slow, you know? This basically, I wouldn't say it like starts where the Remnant Chronicle series leaves off, but it's like very close to history. It's very close to the timeline, that's what I meant to say, because we do see like all the characters we saw in the Remnant Chronicles in this series. It was set up for me to like it. It was just the pacing that was like not for me. So those are our 4 best and 4 worst books of 2024. I do want to go through my honorable mentions because once again, it was so hard narrowing down the best books to like just 4. So honorable mention number 1, we have Hothouse Flower by Kristen Becker Ritchie. I started reading the Dixie Calloway sister series last year. I probably brought out my part 1 of reading the series video, I think like a few days ago. And I'm gonna bring out part 2 probably, I want to say March or April, so I do have time to like read it. Like obviously I want to read other things, but I want to read this too. So that video is coming out in a couple of months. But this book, I don't know what it was. I was so scared going in because I was like, the age difference is like a big thing, and they did meet when she was 16. So I was so scared. But the feelings that I felt, oh my god, like I thought that I would love Rose and Connor. Rose and Connor were my favorite couple, but their book just fell flat, and I feel like I had low expectations because not that I didn't like Kiss the Sky, but it was like overhyped. Coming into Hothouse Flower with low expectations, oh my god, absolutely fell in love. If you, for some reason, have not read this series yet, please go read it. You're welcome, and you will not be disappointed. The second honorable mention, I discovered Mia Sheridan this year. Most of All You, I hope you can see it. Most of All You by Mia Sheridan. I started this book as an audiobook in my car because I was driving up north to a cottage. I was like tearing up. Mia Sheridan just has such a beautiful writing style. You feel so much. It's just beautiful. Like there's so much trauma, there's so much angst in her books. You feel so much, but oh god, like she just know, like some authors just know how to make you feel things, and that's how she does it. I love the characters, I love the storyline. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful masterpiece. And finally, our last honorable mention that like shoved me head first into like Western cowboys country. We have, to no one's surprise, Flawless by Elsie Silver. I've only read the first book in the series. There's this one line in this book I love. It makes me so mad because I read it through audio and I don't know where the quote was, so I can't tab it, but I told my friend, okay, when you read it, like this is the idea of the line, tell me where it is so I can tab it because I need it. I need to know. So good. So good. Please, all these like best books, 5-star or like honorable mentions, please go read them. You will not be disappointed. You're welcome. You're welcome because these These books changed my life. I can't get them out of my head. Some I read like literally months ago. I can't stop thinking about them. That is how good they are. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and leave a thumbs up so I know to bring you more just like bookish talky videos. My camera's like literally running out of storage space. So we're gonna do the outro like super fast. And once again, all my socials down below if you want to go check me out. TikTok, Instagram, Goodreads. I'm posting once to twice a week, so definitely, like, you definitely want to stick around for that. Happy 2025 and stay safe, protect your vibe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys!